Yeah.
Hello, everyone. A very good evening to all our YouTubers of our YouTube channel. I, Shalu Tiwari, your anchor, welcome you once again to our YouTube channel at Hack the Mountain. So, as you know, there is very few time left for our event to be live on 10th and 11th of October. So, please stay tuned and stay connected to our website and keep checking your mail as we'll be sending the links or the mails regarding the event. So, the topic for today's workshop is self driving cars. Are you a fan of self driving cars? And if not, you'll become one after this session. Self driving car is also known as driverless robo or robotic car. It is a vehicle that is capable of sensing the favorable environment on its own and move safely with its agent and performance measure with little or no human input at all. And for this session, we have our speaker amongst us, and his name is Mr. Gagandeep Reehal. He is founder of C and CEO at Minus Zero. He is an author, AI engineer, deep tech researcher, and technology entrepreneur. He has mentored and judged numerous developer and hacking events. He is a worldwide spoken at leading conferences. He has also organized global events, including like TEDx, and is currently having a startup at Minus Zero. He's also working on self driving cars, cognitive humanoids, and holographic projects in India. So, sir, we are very happy to have you amongst us.
Yeah. Just. Uh, yeah, I'm audible. Hi. Just give me a minute. I think. Just hold on a second. Let me see if the camera is. Just give me a minute. Just a minute. Just a minute. I'm really sorry for this. Yeah. Yeah, am I visible? Great. So really, good evening, gentlemen. Namaste, Adab, and Sat Sri Akal. I'm Jagandeep Reehal. So you all must be fans of self-driving car, right? Everybody imagines that there would be a certain kind of future that where humans won't have to tirelessly drive stuff on long routes. Everything shall be controlled by AI and robotics, right? And this topic has been in a lot of hype from very recently, particularly from the works of Elon Musk. So, disclaimer: this is not an course or something that's going to make you expert in self-driving cars, but it's an introductory course for all those who want to come into this field and actually create an impact on the future. So, great. Can I have my screen print to the video? Oh, to the screen, yeah, great. So self-driving car, right? That is a really big buzzword, right? And there is nothing like rocket science or something that is so tough about it. It's just that people are not really aware of this and people are not really working in this about on this thing in India, but this is a really topic with a great hype. So I think let's begin without time to waste. So firstly, let me introduce myself. I'm an author, artificial intelligence engineer, and currently I'm founder and CEO of Minus Zero, a solely Indian startup aiming to develop self-driving cars, cognitive humanoids, holographic projections, something similar to Jarvis of Iron Man, brain clones, and much more, and that too in India. So it's a small endeavor we have started, and we hope to create a future for the Indians that we all dream of. So, what do you think? What are the basic points of whenever you drive a car? What are the basic points that are incorporated? First, obviously, you have to steer a car left or right. That is lateral control. Then comes longitudinal control. That includes accelerating, braking, right? And then next priority is the detection of objects in front of you in the rear view mirror and all that, and how you react to that thing. Like suppose you have somebody that there is a person in front of it and you have to push the brakes of the car. That is object detection and response. And then comes planning. Obviously, you have to decide that okay, I will be going from Jammu to Delhi. You have to decide the route. That is where the tools like GPS and all that comes in. This is the long-term route, and the short-term includes all those immediate planning. Suppose you have, man, there is a traffic on this route. Let's take some other shortcut and all. Those are short-term goals. And in the last, the major thing that is the biggest obstacle in bringing self-driving cars on road is the miscellaneous things that you can't predict. Suppose in the cases of accidents, when you really need to react with a human brain and you can't expect a computer to react properly to that. So, how are you going to tackle it? So, we will be covering all the topics in a proper systematic way, and though we will not doing any mathematical and hardcore implementation, since we do not want you people to get like really confused that oh my god it's rocket science. So let's hope you all enjoy the session. And if you have any questions, you can always throw them in the comments, and I will surely try to answer those. So there are different levels of driving. Currently, the things we have achieved is number one and number two. That includes that yes, you can control the speed of the car, you can change lanes and steer. But the major thing that we are currently working on, all the industries in the field, either you take Elon Musk, Tesla, or Comma AI, or Waymo, or even our very own Minus Zero, that is object detection. Then route planning and obviously ODD in the end. That is the major goal. That is the actual thing that is going to make all these systems, autonomous vehicles, intelligent enough to be capable of driving a real life situation. Because there are certain things that you need to keep in mind. Suppose a self-driving car without any human supervision crashes. Who will be held responsible? Because there is no driver. So will the manufacturer will be held responsible for that accident, or you say the government shall be responsible, or the person who crashed that shall be responsible? So these are the things that really need to be considered before you create something that is deployed commercially. So yeah, we have currently all the industries have fully achieved these two systems. They can steer on highways, they can change lanes. But just imagine a place like India where you have no control over traffic. Anything can happen anytime. A cow can come in between, or just a dog or some human who is just breaking the rules, because you can't really expect rules to be followed. And obviously, there are traffic jams and a lot of vague situations in which a computer might not have enough reasons how to react. So that is the thing the people in the industry are currently working on. So what are challenges to perception? How a machine and autonomous system gonna perceive what is in front of it? First is obviously the thing should be robust. The detection should be robust. Like it should not categorize old lady into a young person, or should not mistake a dog for some other animal. The computer should know what exactly is in front of it. what exactly is in front of it so that it can react properly. Obviously, if there is a human in front of it, you have to react in a certain kind of way because you can't expect human to quickly clear the path. But if there is somebody like a bird or something, yeah, you can expect that even if you drive, the bird will be able to clear the path or move away from its position in most of the cases. Then obviously, second problem that comes is sensor uncertainty. You have multiple sensors, camera, radars, lidars. What happens if one of the sensor fails? How are you going to tackle that? Then obviously there is occlusion and reflection. You must have seen that suddenly when you come out of dark into sunlight, there is a total bright glare on the screen. For a few moments until the camera focus adjusts, there is nothing visible on the screen. So how do you react to those situations? Obviously, you're gonna get certain situations when you're driving through a tunnel and you suddenly come out into sunlight, or you are under a highway and under a bridge and then you come out in the sunlight. How will you tackle that glare? Because you can't compromise on anything in traffic, because even in a matter of second, a millisecond, something can happen, right? And obviously then the major problem, how are you going to tackle the rains, the storms, and if something just comes by, like there is a storm and leaves come on the camera or something, or something obstructs it, how are you going to tackle this? So these are the major challenges that the industry leaders are facing, that are major drawbacks, so obstacles in bringing this thing to the public roads. So first thing is reactive planning. What computer does is it has a certain situation in front of him, like there is a dog, or there is a human, or there is a speed breaker, or you say there is a sign saying stop. Now the computer has to understand what that sign is, what that object is, and has to react accordingly. It should understand what a road sign says. Does it say stop, or it says keep to left, or it just specifies a speed limit? It should be able to understand, and it should also able to understand if there is a old person in front of him, or then the computer has to obviously proceed with a great caution. And if there is a young person, then yeah, computer has a certain tolerance which it can adjust. So yeah, that is reactive planning, how the computer reacts to certain situation. Then comes predictive planning. You are a human. If you see there is a red light at 100 meters away from you, you assume that all the vehicles on the road will stop. This is an assumption that you make. But computer, no matter how high tech it is currently, you can't expect it to think itself that if this there is a red light, then all the vehicles would stop. You can't make sure. So you have to create a certain prediction algorithm that detects at what speed certain will the vehicle in front of it stop or not. If the vehicle, you sense the speed of the vehicle in front of the car, and if that vehicle is slowing down, obviously you can assume that either this vehicle is going to take a turn or it's going to brake. So the autonomous car, the self-driving car, also has to adjust itself according to it. That is predictive planning. That computer tries to predict what might happen in next or moment, or a few seconds afterwards. So, so the basic software architecture that actually works behind all self-driving cars, number one, obviously you have sensors from where you receive the input. You have camera, you have GPS, and you have obviously a lot of things. You have lidar, radar, and in certain cases you might have a sound sensor also to detect all the horns and something, right? Then you have an infrared sensor to just understand what's going on in front in the dark, right? Then comes two steps. One is environment perception. Environment perception is, as I said, you have to perceive, you have to detect what is in front of the car, what is uh, in the rear view mirrors, and then comes environment mapping. The computer has to create a certain kind of instant map that he computer needs to be able to create a certain, like some sort of this kind of grid. There is a computer creates a grid and it like detects ki, okay, this object is this square is not free, it can't go there. This is also not free, so computer has to go from this path to this, means from this path. So that is thing. It creates a map in certain kind of graph or grid, right? That is the process called environment mapping. And then obviously, then comes motion planning. It plans whether it should stop or it should turn left or right or change lanes or it should change its speed. And in the end is the controller. There are a lot of types of controller which actually control the motion, because if you have a petrol car, you need certain different kind of mechanisms to control it. If you have an electric car, which is the most probable case in self-driving cars, yeah, you have to create another kind of controller to perceive it. And then is actuation. This is the reality, the X factor that happens, and that is going to decide the fate. And obviously, there is a system supervisor, like just a motherboard on your computer, that actually oversees what all is happening, and it is actually supervising all those in between these links, these arrows. It is ensuring that there is proper calibration between sensors, data is going with in proper time and all, right? Now then there are many kinds of environment maps. You must have seen the simplest example is what you have in GPS. You create a certain roadmap that this is our position, this is our destination, and you have two ways which you can use. And then you have to, obviously there are paths which you can decide which is the shortest way, which has less traffic. These are the things you get from GPS. Then I said before, it creates an occupancy grid. Occupancy grid is it maps the environment around it, particularly like around 1 meter, at the 1 meter radius. It creates a grid and signifies which all squares are occupied, which it cannot tread, and which are free for it to move on. And then there are certain maps which is also found in Google Maps. You can see the lane boundaries, traffic regulations, and stuff. And in the end, that is the thing called LiDAR sensing. This is what you get from all the sensors, that the places which have a certain obstacle, that can be, you see, that can be a tree, that can be certain other car. So it lights up that sensor in a virtual map. So these are four basic kinds of map that actually define how the vehicle is going to proceed further. And the sensors which we use in self-driving cars are obviously camera. You can even use two cameras to create a stereo vision, like it happens in the eye. You can judge the depth so that you know how much far a certain object is. Then comes LiDAR. That is light detection and ranging. What it does, it sends certain beams of light out in the environment. It's just like radar, but it's more robust, more foolproof, and more accurate compared to radar, right? And then obviously from radar, then comes ultrasonics, which are commonly you do see in all those braking systems, and rear view cameras, where whenever there is a certain object, uh, when you are reversing the car, it just beep, 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 so that it signifies that there is something for short detection. And then there is GPS and IMU. IMU is inertial measurement unit that is used in your mobile phones. When you rotate the mobile, how does the software know that you have rotated? So it has to rotate the screen also. These are the things that are controlled with IMU. It has many components, accelerometer and all that. And in the end comes wheel odometry, that is kind of speedometer. You measure the speed, how fast the wheel is rotating. That is actually gonna help you. Judge that how much amount of input you have to give to the computer system to control the stuff, right? Then this is the front side of the car, and mostly these are the viewpoints. There are obviously uh, for making an emergency stop or overtaking, you have to see what's coming behind you, right? Then obviously to maintain speed, changing lanes, you have to cover a vision at a long range, that okay, at around 100 meters there is a certain car which might collide if I take a hasty turn, so I have to proceed with caution. So these are the ranges of view ranges that one actually gonna keep in mind while deciding what kind of maneuver the car needs to perform. Then, right? And obviously you have to install the sensors at various different positions in a like in a car. The lidar is usually on the top of it, there are cameras in front of it, then radars on the bonnet. So this thing creates another problem. You have to calibrate the sensors. You have to give input to the computers. Yes, that while making prediction, the computer should keep in mind that the lidar camera are at a certain distance from each other, so it has to calibrate that distance. You must have seen that even in physics lab, you do zero error correction and certain things like that. So that calibration needs to be done, right? And for hardware part, here is the point where actually everything rests on. You have to create a certain hardware, certain GPU or CPU that can operate on minimal power. Because suppose if you are creating an electric car, then you can't expect if like AI is similar, AI uses similar computation power that you use while playing games like GTA Vice City or something like that. You must have seen you usually use accelerated GPU mode, and then your CPU releases lot of heat. So yeah, it has needs a lot of computation power. So you need to create a certain system that makes an effective use of the electric power the current vehicle has. You can't actually expect. Obviously, you have to maintain efficiency also. If all the electric energy is used in computation and little is left for accelerating the wheel, the car will be of no use. That is the thing. For a product or car to be able to be successful, you need a system that on one recharge, it is able to commute at least 100 kilometers before next recharge. That is when the system will be efficient, right? So you need to create a very quick processing system that uses very less energy and gives high performance, and that has very low chances of failure. So obviously there are many that are currently in usage that are by NVIDIA, then there are various processors by Intel and all. And obviously you need GPUs for processing the image, the camera feed, and then obviously synchronization hardware that is similar to what you use in computers. You must have seen CMOS that actually maintains the time in your computer, so that whenever you switch on the computer again, the time is always calibrated. It doesn't see okay, it's showing the time of previous day or something. It should be right in the moment, because timing is very important in self-driving car. Whether a computer is doing it or as a human, you are doing it. Just a one blink of eye and you never know. So these are the things that really need to be addressed. And currently, this is the major thing that industry leaders are working on: how to create efficient system, right? Because obviously you can't easily control a petrol car, because you must have seen for a petrol car, you quickly press the accelerator and you slowly press the accelerator. They have different effects on the car. But electric system is that you can properly coordinate. It is more precise. So that is the thing you have to use, right? And obviously for safety, there are behavior safety. There is functional safety that the hardware does not feel, as I said before, who will be responsible if a crash occurs, and make sure there is no collision. Then obviously these are the safety guidelines that uh, your car should adhere to, right? And how are you going to control it? If anybody of you has studied motion control systems and robotics in past, so you, or even if you had studied mechanics, Newtonian mechanics in class 11th, grade 11th, you must have, you will be able to understand these equations quite clearly. What it assumes that instead of saying there are four wheels, it says we take an assumption, let's keep a resultant vector, right? And we assume that it is like a car. It's like a bicycle, right? So you can actually, it simplifies a lot of calculations for us. You do not have to map individual angles of all the way tires. You can actually assume if your tires are properly aligned, you can assume that it is more like a bicycle. There is one resultant front tire and one resultant back tire. And yes, you can obviously use this equation. So I won't be covering these in detail because yeah, obviously it it will really lengthen the session and make the topic a little bit boring because mathematics is a subject that not all people like, right? And then obviously there is longitudinal Recal model where you have see that okay, there is a friction in front tire, back tire, there are aerodynamic forces, wind speed which can be hindrance, right? Then there is gravitational force which is due to inclination if you are just uh, like you are going on a mountain, obviously you have to consider the force of gravitation, the inclination. So that also needs to be kept in mind. So the motion control system follows similar approach from what you use in Newtonian mechanics. You coordinate the frames, you create a resultant position, you lump all the elements, you create a free body diagram, and then you apply all those mathematical equations on it. And yes, this is a system. This is standard topic. You can't actually coordinate all the sensors, all the vehicle dynamics differently. You have to make a unified system, and that is what you usually do in physics in class 12 by making free body diagrams, right? And then there is a certain mechanism that we follow that is called feed forward and feedback control loop. What computer does, it takes a certain step, okay, and then it receives feedback from the sensors showing that it needs a certain kind of, like, there is a teach, if you do a mistake, a teacher is always there to scold you or your parents scold you. What is that? That is a feedback mechanism. That is the thing that gives you a hint that whether you have done the right thing or wrong thing. So if a computer takes one step, and there is always feedback mechanism. Simple example, you can take input from radar or ultrasonic sensor, which will tell you that vehicle has crashed or it has escaped from crashing. That is a feedback. So computer all the or AI algorithms work on a similar thing. You do a step by prediction, and then you get feedback from reality whether you had done right or wrong. And obviously, as teacher detects marks for certain wrong things done by you, computer also detect, the algorithm also detect marks. If a system takes wrong step, it penalizes it. If it takes a right step, it rewards the algorithm. That is what is the basic thing in reinforcement learning, where a computer or an AI algorithm is able to learn itself. That is a self-learning system. So this is a similar thing that you follow in your classroom or at home. Your parents scold you or punish you if you do something wrong, and they reward you if you do something right. And as usual, computer also is a selfish, and it tries to get as much reward as possible. So this is a certain mechanism that helps a computer to follow the rules. Otherwise, you have seen science fiction movies that, oh my god, certain things happen, computer goes out of control and all that stuff. So this is a mechanism that controls the system, right? Then, as I said, there are various control algorithms. You can obviously study them. There are the mostly we use complex algorithms like Stanley controller, carrot following controller, but it will be really difficult to cover them in this time slot. But there is a certain basic controller which is used in almost all kind of robotics, that is PID controller. What is it? P is proportional, I is integral, and D is derivative. These are three aspects. So what these three aspects, three terms of a equation, it is a certain kind of equation only that controls. It has variables. There is an integral variable, there is a proportional variable, and there is a derivative. And it receives input. You put the input in it, and whatever the output is, that controls what angle the wheel has to be turned or how much acceleration needs to be given. So what does it do? It has three aspects. One thing, it actually tells you that how much value of acceleration it has to a car has to do or how much angle it has to turn. Then second term, it controls that you should have a smooth ride. Obviously, you do not want it like there is a sudden stoppage and there is sudden it goes to 100 feet. Yeah, your ride needs to be smooth because that's why people travel in cars. You need your ride to be smooth. So this is thing you can surely study. PID controller, it is the de facto thing whenever you are using any robotics, whether you're making drones or you are creating, let's say, just some autonomous dog or something. So this is the basic controller. So yeah, you can obviously you can Google it out and yeah, you can learn. And then there is, as I just said, MPC structure. You have a certain reference trajectory. Okay, this is what path we are going to follow. Then you optimize it. You predict whatever the errors might be and what are the constraints or rules a computer has to follow. You input that. The computer optimizes those coordinates. Then it feeds to the model and it judges from previous inputs that whether that model or that values are right, and then it outputs it to the system so that it can be what do you say, it can be actually worked upon by the system, right? They use various kind of loss functions. If you have studied machine learning, even a little bit of machine learning of stats, similar to what there is Euclidean distance, we use certain loss functions like vague least squares, recursive least squares and maximum likelihood. So these are all mathematical estimates of calculating the loss, how much certain computer algorithm has deviated from its true path. So these are various methods, and we use them accordingly with our hardware specifications. So yeah, this is to a totally mathematical approach. And the one thing that is really working nowadays is the called the Kalman filter. This is what you call the basic thing that is actually predicting all the stuff that is happening in a car. Why it is used? It is unbiased. It does not like give priority to certain things. uh, it can decide what action to follow without any bias, right? Then it is consistent and it gives more accurate procedures. And yeah, it is similar to recursive least squares. And yeah, if you are good in maths, you have a certain background in stats. If you studied machining or something, yeah, you can look it up on Google and yeah, study. Then comes global navigation satellite system that is actually helping in long-term planning. And you might have known that for GPS to work, suppose you are looking for a location in your mobile phones and GPS is showing your current location. How does it work? It gives you precise location only when there are four satellites in connection with it. And this is the thing that actually predicts this that what is the exact position of yours, and obviously you have to accommodate various errors that can happen. There can be errors during relay of signal in the atmosphere. There can be multipath effects, right? And even in GPS, the industry has been making a substantial progress and to increase performance. There are a lot of high-tech versions, and even India has been coming up with its own GPS system. And then I said there is inertial measurement unit, IMU, that actually has three gyroscopes. Gyroscopes tell you how a certain system is aligned. And then there is our three accelerometers that help you define, help you control how much the speed or the velocity of the vehicle changes. Right? This is a certain kind of basic IMU sensors, and it is, you might not know, but you use IMU sensors in your almost everything in your daily life, whether it's your mobile phones or just your smart watches or Fitbit or like fitness bands. Every device uses inertial measurement unit in some way or other. And then there comes light detection and ranging. This is the thing that is really, really costly, right? What it does, it is similar to radar, but it sends light signals. And since light can is like light is totally foolproof in front of whatever, light can travel in fog also and in situations like storm and something. So this is a foolproof method which helps in creating a map, but this is really costly. That is why due to these kind of sensors, that are why the cars of Tesla and Waymo are really, really costly. So this is the thing all industries are focusing on, to create a certain alternative that can actually reduce the cost, because a normal LiDAR will cost around 70, start from 70,000 and can go up to 8 to 9 lakhs in rupees. So just imagine, normally in a country like India, people drive a car that is an cost average around 10 lakhs. And if you are using only a one sensor of 5 lakhs cost, how you are going to create a proper system? So this is the thing that the industry is working on, how LiDAR works. As I said, it sends the signal and it creates a point cloud. It creates a boundary cloud by receiving the return signals that okay, this is the shape of object and this is how the car can actually adapt if you need to stop for something, right? So this is one of the things that is a major that has a major usage in the industry. And then yeah, this is a certain visualization map, how a LiDAR creates a visualization map. It actually highlights the places where there is a certain object or there is a certain building or there are certain trees or something, right? Like you will see here. So this helps in predicting even the cases when the camera is not able to detect things properly. You can't always rely on the camera to get the depth, how far a certain object is from a car. So you have to rely on sensors like ultrasonic and radar to do that, right? And as I said before, calibration is really important. One failure in calibration and a lot of things can happen. There are there are many types of calibration. Intrinsic calibration that depends on the hardware or the system you are using. Extrinsic calibration, that is the position where the thing is located. Suppose LiDAR sensor is on the top of the vehicle and camera is in front of the vehicle. You have to give a certain command to the computer that this is the distance between the sensors. So you have to first adjust accordingly so that you can give a precise decision. And then there are temporal calibration that happens if there is certain temperature rise or there is a short circuit of a certain sensor. So yeah, and multiple sensors are always essential. You can't just rely on just camera like we use in our eye. We do rely only on our eyes and brain, but you can't actually do that in case of a computer. You have to accommodate that what if. There is always a what if. What if a certain thing fails? How is that system going to react? So you have to make sure you always have backup systems to make sure that in case of emergency or failure of one of the sensors, your car has enough input data to properly park itself on the side of the road or something, because there will be most probably no human supervision in the cars coming in future, right? So usually this is the loop we follow. Extended Kalman filter. We update the state from the IMU inputs. We try to adjust it that we try to adjust the errors, and then after using the LiDAR and GPS positions, we compute them again, we compute error state, and then we make a prediction. So these are all mathematical terms which can't be covered in this session. If you are really interested in knowing more about it, you can look upon these terms. You can look for these terms on Google and stuff, and will get a lot of material there, because Google is a better teacher nowadays. Then there comes visual odometry. What it does, if like it is similar thing that you use in stereo vision. You have uh, you have two cameras, right? And you have this image, like this is image from one camera and this is image from same camera. And using that, you can there is a certain angle between the same image, despite they are looking at the same scenes, there is a certain angle which can help in getting the depth estimation of the system, right? And then other thing comes that you have consecutive images. At 1 second you are have a certain image, and at 2 seconds you have another image. And you try to notice what is the difference between the images. Suppose this is example we have put here. You use various machine deep learning architectures to actually predict how much a image has moved from its position 1 second before. And using the similar data, you actually predict how much the vehicle might have moved, right? So that is called visual odometry. If anybody has done deep learning architectures, visual perception architectures, you might have known it. And if you want to try this stuff, there is open source library computer CD that has many functions relevant to it inbuilt in it, right? And then there comes feature detection algorithms. You have to detect certain edges in the image. That is a system what deep learning relies on. That if there is a certain image and every point has a certain intensity, this is a very dark point. So this is a very light point, and this is a very dark point, right? So what it says that when there is a certain immediate change in the intensity of the pixels, then there is a probability that it has encountered a boundary of some object, right? So there are various algorithms to detect those boundaries, and yeah, each algorithm is builds upon the previous one to make it more accurate. The Harris algorithm has Laplace, accelerated segmentation test, equation of the Gaussian, difference of the Gaussian detector. These are, as I said, like highly sophisticated mathematical terms. So if you have studied deep learning, then you might have come across these. If you have not come across these, if you search on Google, you will be able to understand. And those who are trying or who are willing to pursue artificial intelligence in future, yeah, don't worry, you will actually get to know how all these algorithms work once you study all that, right? Then even in that you have to, as I said, there are many functions in OpenCV library which is usually used for computer vision. You have certain libraries, certain methods to actually detect all those features, and using that you can create a boundary of that this is a certain object in front of the car and it has to detect it, right? Then come convolutional neural networks. Uh, this is usually the starting point for image detection in deep learning. It has certain elements. One is object detection. You create a certain box and you predict that okay, this is 100% a cyclist. This is 90% a cyclist. According to computer, this thing is 78% a car. Computer always gives a probability. It estimates that okay, this is 60%. I think it's a car. 20% I think it's a truck, and 1%, suppose 0.1% I think it's a tree. And usually computer goes with the highest probability. And then comes scene segmentation. This is a more advanced version of edge detection. You actually divide the whole scene into basic cartoon-like uh, segments so that it knows that okay, green part is the greenery or trees, this part is the drivable surface, the red things are people. So computer reacts accordingly to that. Then comes feed-forward neural networks. That okay, they get an image, they label it. Object detection, they get an image and they give a label to what it is, and they also give a location on the thing that okay, here is the car. It will create a box. Then depth estimation. That very depth using stereo vision or lidar sensing that how much far the object is in front of it. And in the last is semantic segmentation. That is it labels every pixel. Okay, this pixel is green part, it might be green. This is also green part, might be green. This is also green part. This might be green. This is blue part. This might be sky. This is purple. This might be road. So it divides into certain blocks so that it does not have to get confused between the dark colored leaves and light colored leaves. It categorizes all the greenery and labels them with one color. It takes all the drivable surface. It labels them with one color. It takes a road sign and labels them with one color. That is called semantic segmentation. Then, as I said, there are feature extractors, and there are a lot of architectures, VGG, ResNet, inception model, which it helps in detecting objects and boundaries of the particular component. So yeah, you can explore them on the internet. You will really get a lot of tutorials on Medium and stuff, and they are not that tough. If you just want to use them and are not interested in the mathematical implementation, yeah, they are not very difficult to use them. They are pre-trained models which you can easily incorporate in your application or something during the hackathon. Then comes, oh, this is just a like how an 2D object is detected. It extracts features, it gives output layers, and then yeah, this is an architecture for an object detection. And there are multiple architectures, and it depends what kind is the problem. And as this is a more proper approach to a semantic segmentation, you label all the things in one color. Okay, this is road, this is greenery, so that you are not confused. See, this image is something that the computer can easily know. Okay, this is greenery, I have to react in a certain way. This is blue sky, I have to react in a certain way. So yeah, you can just look for semantic segmentation on internet, and you will really get a lot of tutorials that are highly easy to understand. So just remember, machine learning or AI is not a rocket science. You just need to be passionate about it, and they can be grasped very quickly, because in the end, it all comes to mathematics. Everything that happens on a computer is certain kind of formula working, and once you know how that formula works, you are a master of that stuff. Then next thing that a computer has to predict, that is, it has to predict what lane it is able to drive on. It should know, okay, this is a what you say, like this is a pedestrian path, you can't go on it because obviously there will be people walking on it. So it has to learn, it has to detect that this is the area where it can drive easily, so it has to drive accordingly, right? And you, as usual, you use various semantic segmentation algorithms. There is a certain Ransec algorithms that uses 3 points to detect. So we are running like it's already too long, so I think we will need to wind up quickly. So if you want to really know the proper implementation of these algorithms, as usual, Google is your key. Then there is semantic lane segmentation to detect the lanes. Like I'm really sorry because usually these mathematical implementations take a lot of time to teach. So even I am bound, I can't teach them in a period of 1 hour workshop. So I hope you'll understand. If you are a really mathematics enthusiast, I hope this session is not making you feel that it's too theoretical. It's just an intro session, so you can get on working on these things, right? Right, then for lidar filters you have to do a lot of stuff. You have to remove the road, because road should not appear to a computer that it is an obstruction. You have to remove the road from it. You have to remove the dynamic objects, moving things from it, so that it knows what objects are static, right? So the basic type of architecture we follow, at first is a mission planner. The it plans, okay, I have to go from Jammu to Delhi. That is first step. Once it's decided, it decides the shortest route using GPS or Google Maps. Then comes behavior planning. That is instead planning how a computer reacts to a system, right? And behavior planning includes what are the rules of the road. It should know, okay, there is a stop sign. It should know it should stop. It should know that you have 3 traffic lights and it has to go on green, it has to wait on yellow, and it has to stop on red. It should be able to understand the speed limits, right? Then comes local planner. That is immediate planning. Suppose there comes a object in front of you, there comes another car or person in front of you, how the car is going to react, because that thing you can't actually predict from GPS. You actually predict it from the live data you get in from front of the sensor, right? Then you have to generate a path and velocity the vehicle will follow, and in the end it gives that control to the vehicle to execute it. And then for behavioral planning, you have a certain rule of the systems. Okay, you predict something, you evaluate it, which is the most suitable. Obviously, for every situation, you have various options. Okay, you can go right, you can go left. Suppose you have to go past a certain car, you have to overtake a car. You have two ways. You can go through left, you can go through right. So computer will, it's more of economics. Computer will decide which is more profitable, in which system it will get, in which method it will get more reward, and it evaluates them, and then it okay. Then it decides, okay, we'll go the right path, and then as usual, it takes a maneuver. So that is the part that comes from reinforcement learning. It's a certain aspect of machine learning where a system is not fed data, it is not trained on previous data, but it learns in live environment by just running in the wild. Just like a baby learns how to speak. You don't give him books to learn a language. It learns by observing how his mother or father speaks, how the people around him speaks. They say, okay, say dada, and he starts to say daddy, and then say mama, he starts to say mama. That is how, and there are mathematical implementations. As you know, for all this, you can, I don't have to repeat that again. Then there is a certain graph architecture that you might have incurred in, if you have studied data structures and algorithms. You create a certain lattice. Suppose this is the position, and there is a certain obstruction here. So it creates a certain lattice, all the probable path that it can follow, all the option it has, and then it tries to decide using proper algorithms like Dijkstra and A-star search algorithms to get the path which is shortest, which is most easily pursuable, which has less risk, and then there are equations to control to make it that the drive is smooth, so that you easily get back on the path of this. You do not have to go in this way. You have to come back on the path after you overtake that obstacle, right? So these are lattice planner. Then there is a certain concept called lane-led connectivity. What it decides, if there is a certain point one, what are the probable paths you can go? And there are two lanes. Okay, you have to follow this path. You have to follow this path. You can come back. You cannot come back. All that, right? And then there are objective functions. Our computer decides which path is most smooth, which uses most less time, and which is shortest path. And then there are equations to make your turn not like this rash driving, but to make it smooth so that a person has a comfortable ride. Then the mission planning, this thing I have already covered. That is the thing you find in GPS. And yeah, to improve predictions, a computer has to be fed with certain assumptions, so that, because you can't say computer will be able to react in any kind of environment, so you have to give them certain predictions. Okay, a computer has a certain constraints that okay, it assumes that people will follow rules. Yeah, you can give this parameter in foreign countries, but I don't guess in India. And then there is always okay, if a person has to turn, the person will in front of you will give a signal. You can use that information. This helps in making decision in a quicker sense, because that is the thing you need. The computer should be able to make the decision in just like a quadrillion second, so that it reacts quickly. You can't wait, okay, like 1 second, 2 second remaining. By that time, something will happen. So the computer needs to be really quick. And then you can obviously make assumptions that if a vehicle in front of you is slowing down, most probably it will stop. So these are heuristics which you can use what Indians call jugaad, but you can't always rely on them, right? So it can help you improve predictions, right? And then there are certain, you can obviously use the data that a truck will take much time to slow down, a cycle will slow down quickly, right? Depending on what type of vehicle is in front of you, you can detect, okay, there is an old lady, she will be very slow, old man, he will move very slowly, and there is a young kid, okay, he might not have the right sense, so computer has to be very cautious. And if it's a normal person who is running, you can assume he will be able to cross the road in enough time by the time your car reaches it. Then there are a few many collision detection methods. What a computer does, it creates a certain circles around a car, and that is how, because every car has a different random shape, so you can't actually judge for everything, right? So this is the thing you need. You have to create a certain unified way that works in every situation, and that is, you can create a certain radius around the car, and then you can assume if two radiuses touch, then there is a chance of collision, and vehicle has to proceed accordingly. And these are the equations that you might have studied while studying Newtonian mechanics in class 11. And then there comes finite state machines. What are these? You are given condition. Okay, if this condition is satisfied, we will do something or we will not. That is, suppose there is a certain thing, it tracks speed limit. If it's like a feedback mechanism, if your speed increases a certain threshold, okay, you will need to stop. If it is less than a certain threshold, yeah, you can increase speed limit. And then there is a certain time, okay, wait for 5 seconds before increasing speed again. So this is the thing, you have a certain if-else conditions that, okay, if they like, I think you must have understood that. And it actually it's a loop. Okay, if the speed increases, you need to slow it down. If it speed slows down, you have to increase it. Similar like teachers that if you are not performing well in class, the teacher will give you motivation. Okay, you can do it more. You can do it and all that. It actually pumps you. And if you are too hyper to not in the classroom, or then obviously teacher will try to scold you. It will he or she will tell you to go out of the class. So that is what this in the same way a human works. In the end, computer also works in a similar way. You have to actually replicate your thinking system. Whenever you are trying to create anything that is based on AI, you first have to know how will your mind react in that situation, and then you have to create a replica of your decision making on those systems. And I think yeah, we are in the end. So currently, the companies which are really having great strides in this field are obviously the legendary Elon Musk. He is a pioneer in this field with Tesla. Then a company that actually separated from Google. It was subsidiary of Google, Waymo. It is more focused on making autonomous taxis. Then there is Uber. It is also focused on making autonomous taxis. Research is going on at MIT by many people, including the most notable Lex Fridman. You can follow him on LinkedIn if you really are interested in the system. And he has made certain courses available for free on YouTube for self-driving car that are around 6 to 7 hours. And then, so yeah, you can actually pursue them if this topic really interests you, if this thing fascinates you, because that is the thing. The only barrier between a person who thinks machine learning is complex mathematics and the other person who loves it is just a passion. Because skills can be learned easily if you have passion for that. Then there is a comma A that is creating a software stack for the system. Then NVIDIA Drive, the company NVIDIA is creating proper hardware for processing the data. And yeah, we have one our very little startup in India itself, minus zero, where we are planning. We have this vision to bring a self-driving car, fully self-driving car in India, which does not need any human supervision, and it costs 10% of what is the cost of a standard Tesla nowadays. So that AI should not be something that is really reserved for the rich or very academic people. Even a common man should be able to utilize the benefits of AI. So yeah, we are working on many such technologies, deep technologies in India, and it's kind of first of its kind in India. And yes, and the best thing about minus zero is you really do not need a PhD or like too much work experience or degrees. If we are a believer that we are trying to bring the culture of deep tech innovation in India, and we will be if that person, if you have got skills, no matter whether you are from IIT or a simple institute, whether you are just 12th grader or you have done PhD, whether you have 10 years of industrial experience or 1 year of industrial experience, it doesn't matter. If you have got skills and you are really passionate to work on the cool tech, or you are ready to learn something really new by going beyond what is taught in academics, then yes, this opportunity is for you. You can just look up for -0.in, and there will be various recruitments. So yeah, you can join that if you have got relevant skills. We are particularly focused on robotics and AI itself. So you are most welcome. We'll try to test you with an unbiased way, and let's see if you have got it in you, then obviously you're welcome aboard. And let's create this dream possible, a future that everyone dreams of. There's a certain thought in everybody's mind that whatever you see in movies like Iron Man or Infinity War or in sci-fi movies, they deserve to be more than science fiction, right? And you never know, this kind of innovation oriented mindset might bring us the secret of how to time travel. So nothing is impossible in front of science, in front of technology. All it takes is one man to start working for it. So yeah, goodbye. I hope it was a great session for you. And if you have any questions, you can ask in the chat. I'll try to address those. Right? You can ask any questions related to it. And then I guess we are done. I hope you enjoyed it. You can always connect with me on LinkedIn if you really want to follow it, or you can follow -0 on LinkedIn. This is my profile, right? Gagandeep Reehal. You can search it on Google itself. Yeah, you will be able to find me easily. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was not too theoretical or too boring. I tried to make it easy enough to be understandable by all kinds of audience, whether they are first time authors. And I genuinely believe you will try to incorporate certain kind of AI technology in the hackathon itself. Looking forward to seeing that. And yeah, we're always in lookout for new talents. So you can always join. So if anybody has any questions, he or she can just throw it in comments. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your valuable experience to share with us, and thank you for sparing so much time for our from your busy for us. So we highly appreciate your enthusiastic energy, and I guess this was the best session, the most energetic session. People were not bored and they were happy listening to you. Because
So
this topic is also interesting, and the speaker itself is also interesting. So thank you so much for a wonderful session. And I would just say ki if you want to, if the participants or the YouTube viewers want to follow our speaker, you can check out his profile on LinkedIn or on Google. And please, if you have any query, you can also mail us on our website, that is hackthemountain.tech. And get ready, we will be live on our event on 10th and 11th of October. Stay tuned and don't forget to fill the feedback form, because until and unless you fill that feedback form, you won't get the certificate. If you want to earn the certificate, you need to fill it. So please stay tuned and check the mail.
all the
Thank
best
you.
for the hackathon, guys. Right. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Bye.